Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Or maybe you have struggled to find the right word in the middle of a conversation and it felt like it was right on the tip of your tongue but just would not come out. Perhaps you have noticed your balance isn't what it used to be, or you feel a strange tingling in your hands and feet that you just cannot explain. It is terrifying, isn't it? When these things happen in the first place, our minds go as to the darkest possibility. We think of Alzheimer's, we think of dementia, we think of losing ourselves. It is a fear that haunts so many of us as we cross the threshold of 60 or 70. But what if I told you that for a significant number of you watching this video right now, that terrifying decline is not a permanent brain disease at all? What if I told you that your brain might be starving for a single specific nutrient, and that by simply fixing this deficiency, you could reverse those symptoms and get your sharp, quick mind back? It sounds almost too good to be true, but medical science tells us this is happening to thousands of seniors every single day. They are misdiagnosed or they suffer in silence when the cure is sitting right there in the grocery store or the pharmacy. It is not just aging, and it is not just senior moments that we have to accept as our fate. There is a specific biological mechanism failing in your body, and it is mimicking the symptoms of aggressive brain decay. The tragedy is that so many people simply accept this mental fog and physical weakness as the price of getting older, when in reality, it is a warning light on your body's dashboard telling you that you are running on empty of a critical fuel. In this video, we are going to uncover the hidden culprit that mimics Alzheimer's disease. We are going to explore why your body stops absorbing this nutrient as you age. And most importantly, I am going to walk you through the specific foods and strategies you need to implement immediately to protect your brain, your nerves, and your independence. By the end of our time together today, you will have a clear roadmap to recharging your brain and ensuring your golden years remain bright and clear. Before we dive into the science and the solutions, I want to welcome you. If you care about staying healthy, active, and independent well into your 80s and 90s, consider subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications. We share the kind of senior health tips that standard checkups often overlook, and we dig deep into the root causes of aging. And let me ask you a question to get us started. Are you watching from the United States, the UK, Canada, Australia, or somewhere else entirely? Drop a comment below with where you are from. I am always curious to see how far our senior health community reaches, and it is wonderful to see us all coming together to support one another. Now, let us get to the heart of the matter. The condition we are talking about is a severe deficiency in vitamin B12. You might have heard of it, and you might think you are getting enough, but here is the twist. As we age, our ability to absorb this vitamin from food plummets. You could be eating a perfect diet and still be functionally deficient. Vitamin B12 is the master key for your nervous system. It is responsible for maintaining the myelin sheath. I want you to imagine the electrical wires in your house. They are covered in a plastic coating that insulates them and ensures the electricity gets from the switch to the light bulb instantly and safely. That is exactly what myelin does for your nerves. It is a protective fatty coating that ensures signals zip from your brain to your toes and back again. When you are deficient in B12, that insulation begins to strip away. It exposes the nerves. The signals get slow. They get static. They get lost. This is why you might feel that tingling in your hands, or why you might stumble a bit when walking. But the scariest part is what happens in the brain. Without B12, your brain actually begins to shrink. This leads to memory loss, confusion, changes in personality, and severe fatigue. To a doctor, looking at symptoms from the outside, it looks almost exactly like the early to mid stages of Alzheimer's disease. But unlike Alzheimer's, this is often reversible if you catch it in time. So how do we fix this? How do we flood your system with the B12 it is screaming for? We are going to go through the top sources and strategies right now, starting with the most potent food medicines available to us. First on our list is a powerhouse from the ocean, that is often overlooked, and that is clams. These small shellfish are quite possibly the most nutrient-dense source of vitamin B12 on the planet. It is staggering how much power is packed into these little shells. Just 3 ounces of clams can provide dozens of times your daily requirement. I know clams might not be a staple in everyone's diet, but let's look at the science of why they are so critical. Beyond just the B, 12 clams are rich in iron and protein, which helps with that fatigue so many of us feel. When you eat clams, you are delivering a massive dose of cobalamin directly to your bloodstream, which helps rebuild that myelin sheath we talked about. Imagine those frayed wires in your brain getting a fresh coat of insulation. That is what high-quality B12 does. It allows the signals to fire rapidly, again, connecting your memory of a face to the name of the person. If you enjoy seafood, try adding a clam chowder or a pasta with clams to your menu once a week. It is a delicious way to safeguard your brain. If you are not a fan of the texture, you can chop them finely into sauces where you won't even notice them, but your brain certainly will. Moving on to our second strategy, and this one is a bit controversial for some, but it is undeniable in its effectiveness, and that is liver, specifically beef liver. I know. For many of you, this brings up memories of tough, overcooked liver and onions from childhood that you were forced to eat. But stick with me here, because liver is essentially nature's multivitamin. In the animal kingdom, predators eat the liver first because that is where the nutrients are stored. For seniors, liver provides a highly absorbable form of B12 that is wrapped up with other brain-boosting nutrients like choline and copper. Choline is fascinating because it is the precursor to acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that is critical for memory and learning. When you combine the B12 and the choline in liver, you are giving your brain the raw materials it needs to repair itself and form new memories. Think of it as a construction crew for your neurons. If you are dealing with brain fog where you just cannot seem to focus, eating liver once a week can be like clearing the mist on a windshield. If you truly cannot stomach the taste of liver, there are plenty of high-quality desiccated liver supplements available now. These are pills made from dried liver, so you get all the benefits without the taste. But for those willing to try it lightly, pan-searing liver with some caramelized onions and perhaps a splash of balsamic vinegar can actually be quite a gourmet meal that serves as powerful medicine. Let us talk about the third dietary pillar, which is far more common and accessible, and that is fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and trout. We often talk about these fish in the context of heart health because of the omega-3 fatty acids, but they are also tremendous sources of B12. This is a classic case of food synergy. In nature, nutrients rarely work alone. They work in teams. When you eat a piece of salmon, you are getting the B12 to protect your nerves, and you are getting the omega 3 seconds specifically DHA, which makes up a huge portion of your physical brain structure. The omega 3 seconds reduce inflammation in the brain, while the B12 repairs the wiring. It is a two-pronged attack against cognitive decline. Imagine your brain as a house. The omega 3 seconds are repairing the walls and the roof, keeping the structure sound while the B12 is rewiring the electricity. You need both for the lights to turn on. Many seniors tell me they feel a difference in their joint pain and their mental clarity when they switch to eating fatty fish 2 or 3 times a week. It is lighter on the digestion than red meat, which is a bonus as our digestion slows down. A simple baked salmon with some lemon and herbs is not just a lovely dinner, it is a brain-saving protocol. Now, I want to address those of you who might be vegetarian or who simply do not eat much meat. This brings us to number 4, which is fortified nutritional yeast. This is a secret weapon for anyone on a plant-based diet or anyone who wants a savory boost without the cholesterol. Nutritional yeast is a deactivated yeast that comes in yellow flakes, and it has a cheesy, nutty flavor. Because B12 is naturally found in soil bacteria, and animals' plants generally do not contain it. So if you are eating mostly plants, you are at high risk for this Alzheimer's mimic unless you are careful. Nutritional yeast is fortified with B12, meaning it has been added in. It is wonderful, sprinkled over popcorn, stirred into soups, or dashed onto roasted vegetables. It is an easy way to sneak B12 into your snacks. I have had patients who were strictly vegetarian and started developing severe memory issues. They were terrified. Once we identified the B12 deficiency and introduced fortified foods like nutritional yeast and supplements, their recovery was remarkable. It is a reminder that sometimes the solution isn't a complicated drug, it is just giving the body what it is missing. Number 5 on our list is one that is a breakfast staple for millions, and that is eggs, specifically the yolk. For years, we were told to avoid yolks because of cholesterol, but modern science has vindicated the egg. The yolk is where all the nutrition lives, including a healthy dose of vitamin B12. But here is the key about eggs. To get the most out of them, you want to avoid overcooking the yolk until it is gray and chalky. A soft boiled or poached egg preserves more of the heat-sensitive nutrients. Eggs also contain lutein, which is fantastic for your eyes. So when you have an egg breakfast, you are protecting your vision and your brain simultaneously. It is a wonderful, complete package. Picture this. You start your day with 2 poached eggs on a slice of whole grain toast. You are feeling satisfied, you are stabilizing your blood sugar, and you are depositing a wealth of B12 into your account for the day. It is a simple habit, but over months and years, it adds up to a resilient nervous system. Now, we have to pause here for something incredibly important. I mentioned earlier that eating these foods might not be enough. This is the twist that catches so many seniors off guard. You might be sitting there thinking, well, I eat eggs and I like salmon, so I am fine. Not necessarily. As we age, our stomach acid levels naturally decline. We need that strong stomach acid to separate vitamin B12 from the protein in food so it can be absorbed. If you have low stomach acid, or if you are taking antacids or proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, you are effectively blocking your body from absorbing B12 from food. You are locking the door, and the nutrient is knocking, but it cannot get in. Furthermore, if you are one of the millions of people taking Metformin for type 2 diabetes, this medication is known to deplete B12 levels significantly. This is why you can eat right and still suffer the symptoms of deficiency. This creates a dangerous illusion of health while your levels are quietly dropping year after year. If you are finding this information eye-opening so far, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps spread the word to other seniors who might be struggling with memory issues and have no idea it could be a simple vitamin fix. And if you have not yet, do subscribe for more of these little-known health insights. We are just getting started on how to manage this. So if absorption is the problem, what is the solution? This brings us to our next critical point, which is supplementation and the right kind of supplementation. If you are over 60 or if you are on those medications I mentioned, simply eating more liver might not do the trick because your stomach cannot process it efficiently. In this case, a B12 supplement is not just a good idea, it is often necessary, but you cannot just grab any bottle off the shelf. You want to look for methylcobalamin. This is the active form of B12 that is ready for your body to use. Many cheap supplements use Cyanocobalamin, which is a synthetic form that your body has to work hard to convert. As we get older, our conversion machinery gets a bit rusty, so we want to make it as easy as possible for our bodies. We want the methylcobalamin. And here is a pro tip. Look for sublingual drops or lozenges. These are the ones you put under your tongue and let dissolve. Why is this better? Because it bypasses your stomach entirely. It absorbs directly through the mucous membranes in your mouth into your bloodstream. It is like taking a shortcut that avoids the traffic jam in your digestion. If you have been feeling that brain fog, try a sublingual B12 for a few weeks. Many people report a lifting of the veil where their energy returns and their thinking sharpens within days or weeks. Let us connect this to another vital nutrient, because B12 needs friends. Number 7 on our journey is folate, or vitamin B9. B12 and folate are like dance partners. They work together to keep your red blood cells healthy and your brain oxygenated. If you have enough B12 but no folate, the system still jams up. This is why you need to be eating leafy greens. Spinach, kale, and broccoli. These are rich in natural folate. I am not talking about the synthetic folic acid found in cheap bread. I am talking about the real stuff from leaves. A diet that combines a piece of salmon for B12 with a side of steamed spinach for folate is a super meal for the aging brain. It reduces a substance in your blood called homocysteine. High levels of homocysteine are a major risk factor for Alzheimer's and stroke. B12 and folate work together to break down homocysteine, rendering it harmless. Think of them as a cleanup crew that sweeps away the toxic waste that builds up in your blood vessels. By eating these foods, you are keeping your arteries clear and your brain fed. Now, I want to touch on something that often goes hand in hand with B12 deficiency, and that is hydration and electrolytes. It seems simple, but when your nerves are trying to repair themselves, they need a conductive environment. Water is that conductor. Dehydration in seniors is rampant and it exacerbates confusion. If you are low on B12 and you are dehydrated, your brain has no chance. It is like trying to run a computer on low battery and without a cooling fan. It will crash. So as you increase your intake of these B12 rich foods, make sure you are drinking enough water throughout the day. It helps the blood transport these nutrients to the brain cells that are crying out for them. Let us take a moment to consider the emotional side of this. I know how scary it is to feel like your mind is slipping. I have spoken to so many patients who stopped going out to lunch with friends because they were afraid they would repeat themselves or forget a name. They withdrew from life, and that withdrawal only makes the brain age faster. Isolation is toxic to the brain, but when they realized that their issue was a biological deficiency and not a terminal decline, it changed everything. It gave them hope. It gave them their confidence back. It might feel a bit unsettling to learn that a vitamin could be the cause of such severe symptoms, but remember, knowledge is power. Now that you know, you can make simple changes to protect your health. You do not need to overhaul everything overnight. Even adding that B12 supplement under your tongue in the morning or having eggs instead of cereal can spare you a lot of pain and confusion down the road. You might start to notice less stiffness in the mornings and more energy on your walks once you swap these habits. Imagine walking up the porch steps easily again without that tingling in your feet. Imagine finishing your crossword puzzle without getting stuck on simple words. That is the difference these small tweaks can make over time. Let us talk about getting tested. This is step number 8 in our protocol. Do not just guess. Next time you see your doctor, ask specifically for a vitamin B12 test and ask for your homocysteine levels to be checked. Here is the catch. The normal range on lab results is often too wide. A level of 200 or 300 might be considered normal by some labs, but for a senior, that is often the danger zone where symptoms start. You want your levels to be optimal, not just adequate. Many functional medicine experts suggest aiming for levels above 500. If your doctor says you are in range, but you are in the low end and you have symptoms, advocate for yourself. Ask if you can try supplementation to see if symptoms improve. It is your brain and your future, so you have the right to push for optimal health. I also want to mention the gut-brain connection again because it is so vital. Step number 9 is caring for your gut lining. We talked about stomach acid, but general gut inflammation can also block absorption. If you are eating a lot of processed foods, sugar and inflammatory oils, your gut lining becomes inflamed. This inflammation is like a blockade. B12 cannot get through. By switching to a whole food diet full of the foods we discussed, plus fiber-rich vegetables, you heal the gut lining. You take down the blockade. Suddenly, the nutrients can flow again. It is all connected. Your stomach health dictates your brain health. If you have chronic indigestion or bloating, take that as a sign that your brain might be next in line for trouble if you don't address the diet. As we round out our list, let us look at the lifestyle factor of movement. Exercise drives B12 into the tissues. When you move your muscles, you increase circulation. You are pumping that nutrient-rich blood deep into the nerve endings in your toes and fingers where the neuropathy starts. You don't have to run a marathon. A daily 30-minute walk gets the heart pumping and helps deliver the repair materials to the construction sites in your body. Think of the food and supplements as the bricks and mortar, but the exercise is the truck that delivers them to the site. You need both. So to recap what we have covered today, because I want you to walk away with a clear plan. We learned that memory loss, balance issues, and tingling are not always permanent aging. They can be signs of a starving brain, specifically starving for vitamin B12. We learned that the best sources are clams, liver, fatty fish, eggs, and fortified nutritional yeast. We discovered that seniors often cannot absorb B12 well due to low stomach acid or medications like Metformin. So a sublingual methylcobalamin supplement is a smart insurance policy. We learned that folate from greens is the necessary partner for B12. And we learned that you need to advocate for yourself with your doctor to get your levels checked and optimized. It is all about giving your body what it needs and avoiding the sneaky things that cause harm. Remember, your body is always trying to heal and strengthen itself. It is an incredible machine that wants to survive and thrive. All we have to do is give it the right fuel and care. Growing older might be inevitable, but growing weaker doesn't have to be. Growing forgetful doesn't have to be. With the right habits, you can stay strong, mobile, and independent. I know getting older is hard. The aches, the fear of losing mobility, it can be scary and discouraging, but you are not alone in this, and it is not too late to turn things around. Every small step you take, every better food you choose, every good habit you build is strengthening your legs and your future freedom. One meal, one step at a time, you are taking charge of your health. You have the power to change your trajectory. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of these tips surprised you the most? Did you know that acid reflux medication could be hurting your brain? Do you have any personal experiences with B12 deficiency or memory fog? Share your story or any questions in the comments below. I read every single one and we all learn from each other. Your story might be the thing that encourages someone else to go get tested and save their own memory. And what change are you going to make after watching this? Are you going to buy some nutritional yeast or maybe book a doctor's appointment? Let us know in the comments. If this video helped you or opened your eyes even a little, please hit the like button. It means a lot. And do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on important health insights that could improve your life. We have plenty more science-backed tips for thriving in your golden years. If you are still with me and you are determined to stay strong, type a 1-inch the comments to affirm it. Let me see who is really dedicated to their health today. Stay strong, stay healthy, and remember your independence is carried by your daily choices. Keep taking those small steps for your health. They add up to giant strides in your freedom. I will see you in the next video.